Hi there, I'm Black Bright. I like to think I'm black and I'm bright. And yes, I'm coming into your homes and thank you for welcoming me. First time you're passing through, click the thumbs up, the thumbs down, and all that jazz. Subscribe and share. I'm going to do a little roundup today because I haven't done a roundup for a while. Last night I didn't do anything at all. And today I thought, yeah, change my image a little bit, look a little bit different, keep you interested, you know what I mean? See the same face all the time can get a little boring. So you know what? I just change it up a little bit for you. Yeah, I know some of you are going to say, oh, I prefer you with the natural hair. I don't like the wigs, blah, blah, blah. I don't really do it for any approval. I do what I do because I like to do it. Okay? So now we've got that out of the way. Let's get down to business. So what's going on? Well, we've got, the other day, Boris Johnson and the Home Office were talking about extending the visas for all of those who couldn't get out of the country. So we had a lot of people in the country, what they call foreign nationals, immigrants, migrants, whatever you want to call them. They're in the country, whether they came on tourist visa or work visa or student visa, or whether they're here in the country because they're trying to get leave to remain, trying to get whatever it is they're here for. They were given a little reprieve because anybody whose visa ran out on the 24th of January, between that and March, they would get an extension to the 31st of May. When is the 31st of May, please? Hasn't it just snuck up on us so suddenly? It's in a couple of weeks' time, if that. So you've got a lot of people who are scrambling around. I'm not quite sure why they're scrambling around, but the papers say they're scrambling around and thousands of people are going to be kicked out of the country because their visas have expired and all this kind of stuff. And then you've got some organisations talking about they should be extended till September. My issue is, I don't think it's as straightforward as that. Number one, why are they here? Number two, how long are they meant to be here for? And number three, if they came over here, like on a visitor's visa, or whatever they came on here with, surely the only reason they're in the country is because they couldn't get out to go back home because the airports were closed. But you've got people making it look like all of these people want to stay and now their visas are expiring and now we're going to have these load of illegal immigrants in the country, blah, 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 blah. Funny thing is that a lot of people are legitimately here. They've paid their visa application fees, and because the Home Office hasn't been open, because they've been unable to get their biometrics, because they've been unable to do their English tests, they have been stuck. Even spouses who've come over here to get married, they're in the same barrel. Everyone's in the same barrel. So there is nothing much they can do now. If the Home Office wants to be stroppy, they can say, well, sorry, the airports are open, you've overstayed, your application hasn't been done, we haven't got the wherewithal to extend your visa because of A, B, C, D, and E. The test office, I think they're not opening until June, so you have to get on your bike and go back home. So you do have a sector of people who are really concerned. Those people who are legitimately here and through no fault of their own have been unable to process their extension, and the Home Office doesn't seem to be cooperating with these people. That's just what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if there are other culminating factors that prevent them from getting an extension, but I would have thought that if they're here legitimately, that they've paid their fee, and that, it's just minor things that are not in order, because remember, the Home Office was supposed to tell them if there was anything untoward on the application form, that they could extend them till September. So we'll have to see about that. So that's the big hoo-ha at the moment. You're going to hear it all over the papers soon. Oh, we got all these immigrants over here. They ain't got no visas and they're going to be kicked out of the country. And the funny thing is, probably some of them have run out of money and they can't wait to get back home. It's the same way like you've got people in Barbados stranded. Jamaica hasn't made arrangements for them to leave and go back to Jamaica. And these people, apparently some of them are almost starving. They've run out of money. They were staying in hostels. The hostels are kicking them out. They're going to be on the street. And Jamaica is not rescuing them. This is what I've heard. I hope to God it's not true. I don't think Jamaica would do that to their nationals, but you just don't know. Sometimes it goes under the radar. And sometimes people who are supposed to authorise these things don't know. And with the lockdown, you've got a lot of services that shut down. But I hope to God that they pick up those people from Barbados and bring them home. So what else have we got? Yeah, apparently those people who are unable to get their visas extended, if they don't do the tests and all of that kind of stuff, which you can't do anyway, they could actually lose their fee. Their fee is nearly between £2,000 and £3,000. So can you imagine? Is through no fault of your own you leave your fee? I can't believe that could happen. But we do hear of people losing their fees because of some error, because they haven't completed the form properly, or some omission. So the best thing is, if you don't have your if you haven't done your test, if you're unable to do your biometrics and all of that stuff, and everything isn't up front, everything isn't in place, I wouldn't pay the fee if you haven't already done so. I'd get on my bike, go back home and wait for things to settle down, if they settle down. Because the worst thing is that you end up being an overstayer. And with that comes all the stigma attached to it. Overstayer, criminal, all kinds of stuff. You can't get a job, you can't rent a room, you can't access health care. It's not worth it. So if you just want to stay in the UK for the hell of it, and you were supposed to go back once your plane is on the ground and the airports are open, you better go back. It's just not worth it otherwise. Okay. What else have we got? We've got an organisation. So if there's anybody who has immigration issues, they might want to take this down. They are the Immigration Law Practitioners Association, ILPA. You can actually find them on Google. They've got and look for the one in the UK because it's quite a common acronym. But yes, the Immigration and Law Practitioners Association. So I put that in there as opposed to the initials. And they promote the advising and representation of immigrants. They also try to secure a just and equitable system for immigration, asylum, and nationality law practice. So they sound like they're quite an interesting little charity. Yeah, so what else is there? I wanted to talk to you about if you work for the NHS, you better keep your mouth shut. Keep stum, no whistleblowing, because if you work for the NHS or any health service, whether it's in the UK or the New York, you sign up to a privacy policy. And, with all this coronavirus going on and with everything else, you're not supposed to be speaking to the press. You're not supposed to be speaking to reporters. It results in disciplinary action. So that's probably why we don't even hear what's going on in the hospitals when you come to think of it. I never really thought about there's a zero tolerance for any kind of disclosure in the hospitals or the health service. But a lady here by the name in New York, Lillian Udell, emergency nurse, is being investigated. She spoke to an Interceptor reporter. Interceptor is a media, it's like a newspaper, magazine or something, about shortage of supplies and equipment that she says resulted in the death of a head nurse aged 50 years old on the 28th of March. Now, whether it did or whether it didn't, she had no business talking to the newspapers because there could have been other culminating factors, comorbidity and all that kind of stuff. But I guess she felt impassioned at the time. She didn't think she was doing anything wrong. And these reporters are very, very clever, you know. They kind of get you off guard if you're not careful. They hover around and, you know, especially with so much going on, and they might just say, oh, you know, do you work in there? And, you know, we're just doing a quick interview. I'd like to interview quickly. Is that okay? And, you know, depending on how that individual is feeling at the time, she might just say, oh, yeah, you know, I've just lost a colleague and died because there wasn't enough equipment. She might not have done it in a way that was deliberate. I don't know how she did it. I didn't see no videos on how she did it. But the fact of the matter is, she's likely to be suspended, and who knows, if she faces disciplinary action, she could lose her job. And that is why people do not speak. That is why whistleblowers go mysteriously. Remember those two in China? I don't know if they disappeared or they ended up dying, but they had a couple of whistleblowers in China. And, you know, people, it's not worth it. You know, they have a whistleblowers policy, and they're all saying, you know, we'll stand behind you, you know, speak up, you know, if you see anything not right going on and blah, blah, blah. But when push comes to shove, you've got no backing a lot of the time. So people are afraid to whistleblow. They're afraid to speak about what's going on. And then if you've signed up and they have a communications department anyway, and they have a press office, you've got no business talking to reporters. So, you know, a lot of people, they're not going to talk to them, and so we're not going to know what goes on behind closed doors. So now she's being disciplined. I don't think she said anything derogatory, but it's not for me to say. Like I said, health organisations and hospitals have a zero tolerance for any member of staff breaching privacy policy. Yeah, it's where it goes. So it'd be a shame. I don't know how long she's worked for that health organisation, but, you know, like I said, you know, I was speaking about, you know, the other day people were saying, oh, if there was anything dodgy going on, we'd hear it from doctors and nurses. But this is why most of the people who speak out are people who have retired or who've got nothing to lose, or they're well established. But you don't find people actually working in the sector. And because you don't find people working in the sector, you don't know if the information that we hear from other people, like ex-employees, is current. We don't know if it's adjusted or maladjusted. We don't know what it is. So, yeah. So it's a shame. I hope she doesn't lose her job. I hope they find that she wasn't being vindictive or anything like that. It was a genuine mistake. And they'll look it over. Because the thing is, when you're in grief, you can do a lot of different things when you're upset and in that environment, in that kind of pressured environment. But that's the interesting thing, because the public during the COVID-19 cannot, the staff are indemnified from any, for any malpractice. So I wonder why that nurse isn't indemnified just because she spoke to the, what do you call it? The reporter. She should be protected as well. She's a health nurse, isn't she? But I guess it doesn't work that way. And hospitals are also losing their independence to order supplies. This is according to their hospital service journal, the Health Service Journal in the UK. They have, I don't know if it's because they've been privatised or what, but they're not being delivered through the usual dedicated supply channel. Hospitals have been blocked from ordering essential supplies according to the Health Service Journal, like ventilator masks, tracheostomy tubes, vascular catheters have been suspended from online catalogues. Now, that could either mean one of two things. It can either mean that it minimises the risk of shortages in the future, which is what they claim, or it will increase the number of deaths because essential equipment is not available when needed. And also, we have the non-COVID patients who might need these things. So, yeah, they can't just order it like they used to. That ain't great, is it? And also, in the same health service journal, they said that they want to know why health service can't access test data. You know, all this testing for COVID to see who's got it from who hasn't. Apparently, 2/3 of the tests have been taken place under a commercial scheme, and the data is not being made available. That's interesting, isn't it? Apparently, thousands of tests are being shielded from the NHS. Non-availability of results is being blamed on poor quality data. I mean, wouldn't you think they'd want people to know how many tests and the results of the tests? Wouldn't you think they'd want people to know that? You know, people like Piers Morgan, he's always asking about tests and test results, and the public want to know about tests and test results, and they're being shielded from it. 2/3. That means only a third is being accounted for. And I kind of wonder whether it's because if people know what the test results are they going to need the track and trace app? Because you're supposing the 2/3 are 100%. They've all had the coronavirus and are immune. They wouldn't really need the track and trace. Well, they would need the track and trace to track who those people have been in touch with. But yeah, I don't know why it's so hard to get that data. And then we have people under lockdown. Now, would you believe you can stay at home and make lots and lots of money, especially women? Apparently, they've got this platform. It's called, what is it called now? It is called, I'll tell you in a minute, OnlyFans. OnlyFans, it was founded in 2016 and it's been mainstream over the last 12 months. And since lockdown, it didn't get 30 million during the lockdown period, but it's got 30 million now. Women are taking off their clothes and sending them to their subscribers, and they're being paid. They're either putting, little trinkets on their nipples, and they're putting maybe a face mask on their private parts, and they're earning. One lady said she's earning £35,000 a month. She said she's just bought an £800,000 house in Northamptonshire, and she's looking to buy 2 rentals. And apparently a lot of women, and they're not like your beauty queens, These are ordinary women, cellulite and all, little bulges in their tummy, flabby boobs, some of them. Of course, you've got some real hotters, and I guess they can get the most money. But it all depends what people want and what they're willing to pay for it. But I can't imagine, I don't know what it is about the female anatomy that commands so much money. I mean, I wonder if men, if they decided to put their naked photograph to their female subscribers, I wonder how much female subscribers would pay for it. I doubt if they'd pay hardly anything at all. They'd be like, seen it before, love. You know what I mean? So I don't understand what it is with the female body. Yes, you could say you've seen it before and have the same attitude. But there is something about the female body that entices men to pay. And I don't know whether it's because there's more of it. You see, with the man, okay, he could have a good looking face. He could have a muscular body. He could have a, whatever. But I think with women, I think it all depends whether or not you like big boobs or small. There's so many aspects to the female anatomy that would encourage men to pay for what they enjoy. So anyway, whereas you think people are all stuck in the houses and all moany and miserable, You've got these women having a field day, staying at home, taking photographs of themselves and sending it off to their subscribers and making a mint. I'm not suggesting that's how you spend your spare time. That's not what I'm suggesting, but I'm just saying they decided to be creative and they're pulling it all in. They're raking it in. Not my bag, but hey, each their own. And I think I'm going to stop it there. That's all for now. Have a wonderful evening. And oh, did I say that already? I think I did. I know you're probably saying, go back to your natural hair. We don't like your horse hair. Why do you have to wear wigs? Psst. Enough already. That's all for now. Bye-bye.